Welcome to the world of Strike, the game of Worker Rebellion, a strategic and beautifully illustrated cooperative board game for 2 to 4 players. Happy Corp, the richest company in the world, has just unleashed its most diabolical plan yet, turning your city into an entirely corporate-run metropolis. Happy Corp has already begun unleashing its smile drones to convert the city's infrastructure, crush protests, and ensure every resident watches its commercial breaks. Players take on the role of the Strike Council to lead a citywide rebellion against Happy Corp's takeover. Players will grow their ranks, mobilize their workers, and lead strikes around Mercury City. So will you soon be a smiling employee of Happy City, or do you have what it takes to lead the Worker Rebellion to defeat Happy Corp? Step 1. Place the city board on the table near all players. Step 2 is that each player should take a player board and choose one side to play as. Both sides are the same color, but have different characters with different powers and stats. For this game, we're going to use Valentina as an example. Step 3 is that each player collects the 10 strikers that are the same color as their player board and places them in a supply near their player board. For example, Valentina is blue, so she uses the blue strikers. Each character also has a home base, a location on the board, listed below their player name. Take 2 of your workers and place them in your home base to begin. For example, Valentina's home base is the manufacturing district. Note that it's helpful to play the game by sitting near your home base. Step 4 is that each player takes 4 action tokens and places them on or next to their player board. Step 5 is that each player takes a heart-shaped energy marker and places it on the 2 space of the energy track on their player board. Step 6 is to shuffle the strike cards, the ally cards, and the commercial break cards, and then place them into separate face-down decks near the board. Before your first time playing, make sure to shuffle each of the decks really well. Then, each player draws 1 strike card. Throughout the game, you may show each other the cards in your hand. Step 7 is to place the yellow score marker for Happy Corp and the red score marker for the strikers on their respective 0 spaces on the score track. Step 8 is to gather all the drones, MegaDrones, and victories in separate piles near the board. These 24 yellow cubes are the regular drones. These 5 robot figures are the MegaDrones. And these 14 red stars are the victories. Step 9 is to place 1 regular drone in each location except for Restaurant Row, space number 3, Financial District, space number 6, Stadium, space number 9, and Corporate HQ, space number 12. Step number 10 is to choose your difficulty level and follow the corresponding setup adjustments that are listed in the rulebook. We recommend that first-time players try either easy or normal difficulty, but there's options to choose from. For this video, we're going to just show the normal difficulty setup, which is that every player just adds 2 more strikers to their home base. Step 11 is choosing the first player. Whoever shouted at their boss most recently goes first, or choose another method for determining the first player. Strike is a cooperative game. All players are on the same team together, called the Strikers. They win instantly if they reach 15 points as a team, and Happy Corp is abolished from Mercury City. However, like most evil corporations, Happy Corp can win in a couple ways. They win if they reach 15 points before the Strikers. However, they can also win if they would place their 6th MegaDrone on the city board. You can remember this because there are only 5 MegaDrone pieces available. If Happy Corp wins, then Mercury City has been turned into the Happy City, and you're now all smiling employees. The city board is made up of 12 locations, such as the harbor and the park. Each location is one of 4 colors, determined by the outline around that location: blue, orange, gray, or purple. For instance, Restaurant Row is blue. Your goal is to get your strikers into these various locations so you can complete requirements on strike cards, which will score points for your team. More on that later. Throughout play, you will gain and lose energy, as shown on your energy track. You cannot go below 0 energy or above 6 energy. Nothing happens if you fall to 0 energy. You just can't lose any more energy than that. Your character has 2 unique powers. Your first power is something you can always use, even if you have 0 energy. But you can only use your second power if you have 3 or more energy. It's important to note that this is an additional power you can use, and it doesn't replace your first power. If you have more than 3 energy, you can use both of your powers. These give your characters unique and powerful ways to strategize around the game. Starting with the first player, each player takes a turn in clockwise order. Continue taking turns until either the Strikers or Happy Corp wins the game. Each turn, you may use up to 4 action tokens to take basic actions and play cards from your hand. To do so, you'll place an action token on your player board in the matching action box. However, each action box can only hold a maximum number of tokens, which is different for each character. If the action box has reached its maximum, you cannot place an action token in that box again this turn. So, for instance, you saw here, Valentina can't place 2 action tokens in her Grow Ranks box because its max is only 1. It's important to note that these maximums are different for each character, giving them different ways to strategize. Once all 4 action tokens have been placed, remove your action tokens from your player board so that they're freed up to use on your next turn. After you've spent all 4 of your action tokens, you now have to draw a commercial break card. We'll talk about those shortly, but let's go over basic actions and how to play cards first. When you use the Grow Ranks action, this allows you to add more strikers to the board. You may add 1 striker to any location where you already have a striker, or you can always add one to your home base, even if you don't have a striker there. You take this striker from your supply and add it to the board. If you already have all 10 on the board, you just can't add another. When you use the Mobilize action, you can move your strikers around the board. You get to move one of your strikers in a location to a neighboring location that is connected by a line. If you use the Mobilize action multiple times in a turn, you may move the same striker multiple times. When you use the Draw action, you can add a new card to your hand. You may draw 1 card from the Strike deck or the Ally deck. You may hold up to 4 cards total in your hand at a time, and you may not draw any more cards if you already have 4 cards. We'll talk about what these cards do shortly. When you use the Disassemble action, you can remove a drone from the board. Remove 1 regular drone from a location where you personally have at least 1 striker. You can also remove MegaDrones with the Disassemble action. However, you must personally have 3 strikers in the location where you are removing a MegaDrone. Playing an ally card is one of the only ways you can gain more energy, and they also give you powerful bonuses. To play an ally card, simply place an action token in the action box listed on the card, such as Grow Ranks, but do not do the basic action. Instead, do what the ally card says, then discard it. For instance, the ally card that Valentina just played told her to choose 1 player to gain 3 energy, so she chooses herself, and another player to grow ranks, so she chooses the purple player, Hamza. Playing strike cards is how you score points, and eventually win the game. To play a strike card, you must have at least 3 of your own strikers in the location listed on the card, and that location must have no MegaDrones. It can have regular drones, though. If you have 3 strikers in the location, place an action token in each of the 2 action boxes listed on the card, such as Grow Ranks and Mobilize. When playing a strike card, do not use the basic actions of the action boxes. Instead, follow these steps listed on the card. Add a victory and score, and then choose any player to draw an ally. When you complete a strike card, you place a victory token in the space you've completed it in. The first time you place a victory in a location, you score 1 point for the strikers. Throughout the game, you'll be able to score victories in locations more than once. So, the second time you place a victory in a location, you score 2 points. The third time you place a victory in that location, you score 3 points. However, it's important to note that it's more difficult to place your second and third victories. The second victory you add to a location requires having 5 strikers present instead of just 3, while scoring your third victory requires at least 7 strikers in the location. However, any strikers beyond the first 3 may come from your teammates, but you still must always have at least 3 of your own strikers there. This can be a great way to strategize together. After you use your 4 action tokens, Happy Corp is going to force you to watch one of its commercial breaks, so draw 1 card from the commercial break deck. Commercial breaks will dispatch Happy Corp's drones and do other bad things for the strikers. If a commercial break ever tells you to do something and you can't do all of it, just do as much as you can. For example, if Valentina is told to lose 3 energy but she only has 2, she just loses 2. Every commercial break will tell you to roll the die, and in fact, you'll likely have to roll the die multiple times. Every time you roll the die, you must add 1 drone to the location with the number matching the number you rolled. So, for instance, if you roll a 6, you have to add a drone to the financial district, because its number is 6. And when drones arrive, they kick out strikers. Whenever a new drone is added to a location, each player with any strikers present must remove 1 striker from there and return it to their supply. However, players may choose to lose 1 energy instead in order to keep their striker in that location. And Valentina is going to decide to do just that. So Valentina gets to keep her striker in the financial district, while the purple player had to lose one because he chose not to spend an energy. If a commercial break tells you to do something per level, you must look at your current level on the score track. At level 1, do that instruction 1 time. At level 2, do it 2 times. At level 3, do it 3 times. This means that Happy Corp fights back harder the closer you get to victory. For example, if you're at level 2 when you draw this card that says roll once per level, you must roll 2 times. If you've drawn the last commercial break card and the deck is now empty, don't reshuffle it and make it again. Going forward, you now just have to roll the die for drones 3 times at the end of every turn. Whenever a third drone would be added to a location, instead, remove all drones there and add a MegaDrone instead. The 3 drones have fused together. When a MegaDrone is created, Happy Corp scores 1 point for each MegaDrone in locations of that color. That's another way that Happy Corp has an advantage. They score by color, where players score by locations. For example, if a second MegaDrone was created in a gray location, Happy Corp would score 2 points. Remember, the only way to get rid of a MegaDrone is to have 3 of your strikers in a location and then use a disassemble action. It's important to note that regular drones can still be added to locations with MegaDrones, and multiple MegaDrones can be created in the same location. Also, when MegaDrones are created, they kick out strikers, just like regular drones. Remember that MegaDrones also block victories, so you cannot score in a location if a MegaDrone is present. If you ever have any questions about any of these rules, a quick reference guide is provided on the back of the rulebook that goes over all of the important rules in the game. And that's how you play Strike, the game of Worker Rebellion. Power to the workers.